big difference today is it's sunny and there's no wind. It's very still. So we got that. Not like yesterday where there's a pretty stiff wind and low wind chill. So we'll take the win on the sun and no wind today. The topic of Java with Jeff, the quote that I shared this morning, or what I shared this morning about beginning, was from Sarah Gardner, who's local here in Indy. She does sound baths, which if you've never done a sound bath, you should check that out. Singing bowls. You go, I think they actually call it sound bath yoga, but it's like you go lay on a mat basically, and somebody that has all these bowls, singing bowls. Some of them are crystal, some of them are copper, I think, whatever the metal is, and they make them sing, and they perform this incredibly meditative. It is something to experience if you haven't. So anyway, Sarah does sound baths here in Indianapolis. I'm sure she branches out beyond, but she does them for schools and for corporate. It's pretty cool. But she's the one that shared what I read earlier about beginnings and how beginnings are hard. How when we start out, it's uncomfortable. You may hate this, et cetera, et cetera. But the only way to get past the beginning is to go through it. To get out of beginner land, is how she said it, is to actually go through it. And obviously, she's right about that. See, Nicole's leaving the dog park. It's been a cold half hour, 41 degrees. That's cold. That's cold where you are. I mean, it's cold here, not relative to today, but I noticed yesterday I had an appointment and went grocery shopping and all that stuff, and I didn't wear a coat. I had a sweater on, but didn't wear a coat. And there's some point, I don't know if this is a Midwest thing or what, but there's some point where it seems like it flips, where it's like, oh my gosh, it's cold, and you bundle up and you bundle up, and of course to do this you bundle up, but like all of a sudden you get used to it and sort of immune to the cold. But 41 feels cold to us when it's like October or something. 41 in Phoenix probably feels cold all the time. Let's see. Let's walk past the bat house. So where'd my path go? I'm gonna have to go this way. Beginnings. Beginner land. The way Sarah said it in her post. And I think, as I said on Java with Jeff, the first thing that struck me, and it is related to what the yoga instructor was saying last night, but first thing that struck me, and I don't know why, is just like I saw her post, and I thought, well, what is the beginning? When is the beginning? Because every day, right? And if you're an architect like Nicole, there's a beginning to a project, or there's a beginning to a process, or there's beginnings. Walking up this hill, trying not to fall. Bat house. Where is it? Here's the bat house. There it is. See? Big bat house is what it says. But in the Buddhist tradition, every I think this is actually a quote attributed to Buddha, is every morning is a new beginning. So what does that even mean? The only way through our day is through it. That seems sort of that is. I think about life and all the things that we start, all the things that we try. I know that there are a lot of people in the entree architect community, which Nicole is a part of, um, that are continually starting passive income projects, or they're continually trying new things with their practice, new project types, new locations, new service offerings, whatever it is. We're always beginning. And like, I think the idea of the passive income projects really struck me because I created a handful of guides a while back with the intent of turning those into some passive income, the sale of those into some passive income. And so there's the beginning in terms of creating those. And you start, and sometimes that can be kind of laborious. Oh, this is a great idea. And you get a day or two into it, and you go, oh my gosh, why did I open up dropping a creek? Why did I start this? This was more work than I had anticipated, or something like that. But you keep going, right? There's one way. There's one way to get it done. Is to do it. Seems kind of self-explanatory. Very straightforward. Um, and then you get them done. You publish them, so to speak. I got the guides done. I forget. I got 5 of them, I think. Um, I got them done. I got them published. I put them on a stand store, or the stand store that I share with Carolyn. We haven't promoted that at all yet. We haven't gotten all of our content, or really any of our content, posted at this point. So there's not a whole lot of noise about that. But I created a few things, some Pinterest pins and whatnot, put the links up and things like that. And guess what? Not a single one is sold. And, in terms of passive income project, it, you know, passive is kind of a misnomer. I saw somebody the other day call it automated, and I like that. I like that term because it's not passive. You have to create this, you have to promote this, it's all kinds of things, but you can automate a lot of it. And obviously the idea is you create this once and you sell it over and over. So these guides that I put together, now I need to get to the point where I'm posting content about it, about them, and automating the process of selling these things. I'm not there yet. Right? I'm still going through it. I'm definitely still in beginner land. I've taken like 3 steps, maybe 2 steps, 3 steps. The idea for the guides, created the guides, put them online. Still there. The only way through to sales is to keep going, is to start talking about them, promoting them, posting about them, getting them in front of people. That's the way it works. the only way for me to grow that business idea, I guess, is to do it. Sort of the Nike version of yes, it's just do it. And it's there's there's a reason I haven't done those things. It goes back to the quote from Sarah or the post from Sarah. The beginning kind of sucks. It's uncomfortable. We didn't start doing the thing, whatever it is, because we wanted to do to to do the things, the steps that are necessary. We did it because we want the result. We talked about that. It was when we read the James Clear email earlier this week. Maybe we should think about things in terms of the journey rather than the results. I think that's a really good point as well. Hi, Mark. It's chilly. It's been colder every subsequent morning this week, but I'm taking the wind today because there's no wind. Unlike yesterday, I guess that flag's blowing a little bit. There's a little bit of wind, but not much. The wind was blowing yesterday. Real feel, I guess that's what we call wind chill now. The real feel is in the teens, and so the real feel is actually warmer than the actual temperature today. It's sunny. Got bright blue sky today, so that's nice. I'm still looking at the street over there. Like I feel like I need to put on some hockey skates. It's icy. But yeah, I mean beginner land, right? How do you get out of beginner land? You go through it. That's it. I don't think most of us start a growth journey because we want the journey. The two of you have heard me say this. I don't know, anybody else that joins may not have, but there's a point in time where I refused to use the term journey. I was tired of it. Just tired of that term. I was tired of the journey. It is. It's tiring. It's exhausting. It's hard work, and it doesn't matter, right? Whatever you're talking about, whatever kind of growth you're talking about, it's just okay. All right, we're going to try to stay upright. Whether you're talking about personal or relationship or business growth, the journey is going to be uncomfortable, right? You have to be uncomfortable in order to grow. Like the yoga instructor that I was talking about earlier, new instructor last night. I love Randy that normally does that yin class. I'm glad that this instructor was there last night because, although I will like it when Brandy comes back and does the class, but she introduced some new ideas to me last night, and presumably everybody in the class. But I was saying earlier, I've done that particular class on that night probably 40 times in the last year. It's got to be something close to that. And this instructor says, she says, set the intention to learn something tonight. Set the intention to grow tonight. And that caught my attention, obviously. Holy cow. Okay. Heck, the shortest round across the ice, I guess. Yeah. Pay for it somewhere. And so, that idea is like, I've done this over and over and over and over. So how is this a beginning? Right? How is this place? How is this an activity where we'll learn something? And maybe that's why this quote from Sarah Gardner, or this post from Sarah Gardner, resonates so much, because it's the realization that, every time I do this, Brandy says that in that same class. She says, you may have been here 7 times, you may have been here 700 times. It's different every time. It's all part of the journey. So, this this walk, this walk is different than it was yesterday. Taking a slightly different route, but the conditions are different. It's colder than it was yesterday, sunnier than it was yesterday. What that Christmas decoration is. The ice on the road has probably melted a little bit and frozen again, so it changes the terrain. I think I love the concept of beginner land. Yeah, it's a great term. This is where I am. In her post, it's her voiceover of a video of her what do you call that, ice bath journey, which, more power to you. I tried that. No thanks. Um, but it's, I like the term. I like the idea that this is where we are. This is the land that we have to pass through in order to get to that point of growth. Or, I guess every step, right? Every step through beginner land is growth. And, when she says the only way out of it is through it, she's, that's a great illustration. We don't grow without taking the steps. We don't grow without taking the action. We don't grow without doing the stuff that sucks. And I don't, you could pick some activity. You could be a runner. I keep using that running analogy. Maybe I used it because I'm not a runner. But you could be someone that's run a whole bunch of 5Ks. Maybe that's your thing. And for whatever reason, you decide to do, it may be another 5K. You may live in Indiana. I know some folks that go down to Orlando to do the 5Ks and marathons and stuff at Disney. You may live in Indiana and go do a 5K. You may have done a 5K here. You may have done a 5K here a couple of months ago, and it was nice and cool. And then you may go down to Orlando and do a 5K that's hot. Or you may do a 5K here. If you're not familiar with Indianapolis, it doesn't get much flatter. So you may do and we're at, right here where I am, we're roughly 700 feet above sea level. So you may do a 5K in Indianapolis and then decide to go do one in, I don't know, Denver. That's very different. Same distance. It's not going to feel like it. So no matter how much you love what you do, the running, passive income idea, the relationship, the whatever, it's different every day. You may love running 5Ks and then hate the training for a 5K in the mountains. So you got, I guess, sort of a love-hate relationship going on there a bit. But the only way to get there is to have this all the time with mountain bike racing. How in the world do you train to race mountain bikes in Indianapolis? You know, the biggest hills we have, interstate overpasses. I used to go and ride in Colorado. How do you train for that? Right? You find basically you find the hardest thing you can do over and over and over. And you may love the activity, but the hard thing over and over and over is still a hard thing. So there you go. On my Substack on the notes, I posted the full quote from Sarah's garden post when she was saying that too in Indianapolis. So you can check that out. I made it to the coffee shop. Thanks for walking with me. And I hope you're taking the steps that are necessary to get through beginner land today. I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for walking. See you.